The Dominion warships appeared without warning, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight across Earth's major cities like 1,000 deadly prisms. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, watching as humanity's most advanced warship, a vessel that had taken 15 years to develop, seemed like a toy beside the alien armada. "Multiple signals incoming, Admiral," Lieutenant Park reported, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies." The message that followed was short, delivered in perfect English by what sounded like multiple voices speaking in unison. "Your species has been designated as Category 3 primitive. Your resources are now under Dominion control. Resistance will result in immediate species reclassification to Category 4 and appropriate measures will be taken." Sarah's jaw tightened. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries, but not like this. Not with beings who viewed them as nothing more than an entry in their classification system. "Launch the Aegis defense satellites," she ordered. "Get me a direct channel to their command ship." But before Park could comply, the nearest Dominion vessel fired a single shot. The beam, if it could be called that, wasn't energy or plasma or anything Earth's sensors could categorize. It passed through the Defiant's shields like they didn't exist, leaving the ship's hull untouched but rendering every piece of advanced technology on board inert. "We've lost everything," Park shouted, frantically trying to restart systems. "Weapons, engines, life support. It's all dead." Similar reports flooded in from military installations worldwide. The Dominion's weapon hadn't just disabled their ships. It had targeted anything above a certain technological threshold. Cars stopped in their tracks, phones went dark, and the global power grid collapsed in seconds. In that moment, Sarah understood the true horror of their situation. The Dominion hadn't come to fight. They'd come to farm. And humanity's best technology was nothing more than weeds to be cleared from their new field. The next 48 hours proved her right. As Earth's military forces attempted to fight back with increasingly primitive weapons, the Dominion responded with casual efficiency. Their ships would fire their mysterious weapon, wait for systems to fail, then move on to the next target. They weren't conquering Earth, they were preparing it. In an underground bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Sarah met with what remained of Earth's military leadership. The room was lit by battery-powered lamps. Anything more advanced had been rendered useless by the Dominion's weapons. "They're systematically stripping us of technology," General Marcus Rodriguez explained, spreading paper maps across the table. "But they're not killing us. They're not even trying to. They just disable everything we throw at them and move on." Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's leading genotechnologist, spoke up from her corner of the room. "Because they don't see us as a threat. We're not even worth the energy it would take to eliminate us. In their eyes, we're simply primitive life forms to be managed while they harvest our resources." Sarah studied the maps, noting the methodical pattern of the Dominion's advance. "They're treating Earth like a garden that needs weeding before planting. But their arrogance might be our only advantage. They think they know exactly what we're capable of. Or incapable of," Maya added, her eyes lighting up with sudden inspiration. "They're so confident in their technological superiority that they're careless. Look at this." She pulled out a small device recovered from a Dominion ship's debris field. "They don't even bother to collect their damaged equipment. To them, it's worthless, like throwing away a broken quantum computer in front of cave people." Sarah picked up the alien device, turning it over in her hands. It was damaged, but still far more advanced than anything humans had ever created. "Then maybe it's time we show them what cave people can do with the right tools." "Maya, how quickly can you start analyzing their tech?" "We've already begun," Maya replied. "And here's the interesting part. Their technology isn't just advanced, it's specialized. Designed to work one way and one way only. They've never had to adapt, to improvise. But that's something humans excel at." General Rodriguez nodded slowly, understanding dawning on his weathered face. "They expect us to either die out or survive as primitives. They don't expect us to understand their technology, let alone improve it. Sarah stood, her decision made. Then that's exactly what we'll do. We go underground, gather their discarded tech, and learn everything we can. They think they're watching us fall back to the Stone Age, but they're really watching us take our first steps toward the stars. She looked around the room at the determined faces of Earth's survivors. Send word to every remaining military and scientific installation. Operation Phoenix begins now. Let them think we're finished. It'll make their surprise all the greater when we rise from our own ashes. As the others filed out to implement her orders, Sarah stayed behind, staring at the alien device in her hands. The Dominion had come to Earth expecting to find simple primitives. Instead, they'd given humanity exactly what it needed: a reason to unite, a chance to innovate, and most importantly, the tools to prove that true advancement comes not from superior technology, but from the wisdom and creativity to use it in ways its creators never imagined. 6 months into the occupation, humanity had learned more about technology than they had in the previous century. Deep beneath the Nevada desert, in a sprawling complex known as Haven 1, Dr. Maya Patel stood before a holographic display powered by salvaged Dominion tech. The image showed the intricate inner workings of one of their weapons, not the advanced ones they actively used, but the primitive ones they discarded. "It's beautiful," she said to Admiral Chen, who had just entered the lab. "But it's also incredibly rigid. Look at this power distribution system. It's perfect, elegant, and completely inflexible." Sarah moved closer to examine the hologram. The underground facility hummed with activity around them, hundreds of scientists and engineers working to understand the alien technology. "Explain it to me, Maya. What makes their tech so different from ours?" "Everything," Maya replied, manipulating the hologram to zoom in on specific components. "Their technology is based on absolute precision. Every component is quantum engineered to perform its function perfectly. But if anything changes, if the conditions aren't exactly right, it fails completely." She pulled up another hologram, this one showing human attempts to repair and modify Dominion tech. "We originally thought their devices were breaking because we couldn't maintain them properly, but that's not it at all. They're breaking because we're trying to use them in ways they weren't specifically designed for." "And that's a weakness?" Sarah asked, though she was beginning to understand. "It's their biggest weakness," Maya confirmed. "The Dominion has achieved such technological perfection that they've lost the ability to adapt. Every piece of their technology is designed to do exactly one thing, perfectly, under exact conditions. They don't need redundancies or fail-safes, because their systems never fail, until they do." A young engineer burst into the lab, his face flushed with excitement. "Dr. Patel, we did it. The hybrid drive is working." They rushed to the testing chamber, where a modified Dominion power core pulsed with an odd combination of alien crystal light and human-engineered plasma. The device was ugly by Dominion standards, a mess of retrofitted parts and jury-rigged connections. But it worked. "How?" Sarah asked, watching the power readings climb steadily. Maya smiled proudly. "We stopped trying to use their technology the way they do. Instead, we broke it down into basic principles and rebuilt it our way. The Dominion designs everything to be perfect under ideal conditions. We design things to work under any conditions. The hybrid drive was just the beginning. Throughout Haven 1 and similar facilities worldwide, humans were taking Dominion technology apart and rebuilding it in ways its creators had never imagined. They weren't just copying the alien tech, they were improving it, making it more versatile, more resilient." "Look at this," Maya said, leading Sarah to another lab. Inside, researchers were working with what appeared to be pieces of Dominion ship hull. Their quantum crystalline armor is incredibly strong, but it only works when the crystal lattice is perfect. One flaw, one crack, and they discard the entire panel. She picked up a modified piece of the armor. "We found a way to make it self-repairing by introducing controlled imperfections. It's not as strong as their perfect version, but it can take 10 times the damage before failing completely. Sarah watched as researchers tested the modified armor. Where Dominion crystals would shatter under sufficient force, the human version cracked but held together, the imperfections actually helping to distribute the impact. "They'll never expect this," she said quietly. "That's not even the best part," Maya replied. "Remember their anti-tech weapon? The one they used to disable our technology during the invasion. We've been studying the remains of devices it affected. The weapon works by disrupting precise quantum states. That's why it only affects advanced technology. But our hybrid tech isn't precise," Sarah realized. "It's deliberately imperfect." "Exactly. Our modifications might make the technology less efficient by Dominion standards, but they also make it more resilient. Their weapons are designed to disrupt perfect systems. Ours are designed to be disrupted and keep working anyway." Reports were coming in from other facilities around the world. In Brazil, they'd developed shields that could bend instead of break. Australian engineers had created power systems that could run on multiple energy sources. Chinese scientists had found ways to make Dominion quantum computers work with human binary systems. Each discovery built on the last, creating a new kind of technology that combined Dominion precision with human adaptability. They weren't just learning to use alien tech, they were transforming it into something new. "How long until we can start production?" Sarah asked, reviewing the latest progress reports. "For basic systems, we can begin immediately. For more advanced applications," Maya paused, considering. 6 months, maybe less. The Dominion's biggest mistake wasn't leaving their broken tech behind. It was assuming we couldn't understand it. They thought they were watching us regress to a primitive state. Instead, they'd given us the tools to surpass them. Sarah nodded, watching the hybrid drive pulse with its strange new energy. "Keep pushing the boundaries, Maya. The Dominion thinks they know exactly what we're capable of. It's time to show them how wrong they are." As she left the lab, Sarah couldn't help but smile. The Dominion had come to Earth expecting to find simple primitives. Instead, they'd found a species that could take their discarded perfection and forge it into something stronger through imperfection. The real question wasn't whether humanity would strike back, but whether the Dominion would even understand what hit them when they did. 1 year into the occupation, the underground facilities had transformed from survival bunkers into innovation hubs. Haven One's central chamber now housed the first prototype of humanity's new defense fleet. The ship looked nothing like the elegant crystalline vessels of the Dominion. Its hull was a patchwork of modified alien materials and human engineering, more reminiscent of a mechanical chimera than a spaceship. Admiral Chen stood with Maya before the vessel, now dubbed Phoenix One. Around them, engineers and technicians swarmed over the ship, making final adjustments to its hybrid systems. "Tell me something good, Maya," Sarah said, watching as the ship's adaptive shield matrix flickered to life. "Better than good," Maya replied, her tablet displaying real-time data from the ship's tests. "Remember how the Dominion's quantum drives require perfect alignment to function? We've developed what we call a chaos drive. It actually performs better when it's slightly out of alignment." She led Sarah to a testing chamber where a miniature version of the drive pulsed with an otherworldly energy. The imperfections create micro-fluctuations in the quantum field. Where their drives fight these fluctuations, ours surf them. We're getting 30% more power output than their perfect systems, with 60% less energy consumption. A young physicist named Raj joined them, his eyes bright with excitement. "And that's just the beginning. The more stress we put on the system, the more it adapts. It's like we're teaching the technology to evolve." Across Haven One, similar breakthroughs were happening daily. The quantum crystalline armor they'd modified now grew stronger after each impact, learning from the damage patterns. Communication systems that used controlled interference patterns to transmit data couldn't be jammed because they thrived on signal disruption. "The Dominion's going to notice soon," Sarah noted, reviewing reports from surface observers. They're already increasing patrols around their resource extraction sites. Maya nodded grimly. They've detected power signatures they can't explain. But here's the beautiful part. Their sensors are designed to detect perfect quantum states. Our hybrid technology looks like background noise to them. The more they try to find us, the better we get at being invisible. In the ship construction bay, the Phoenix One's engines hummed to life for the first time. The sound was strange, not the pure tone of Dominion drives, but a complex harmony of frequencies that seemed to shift and change continuously. "We're ready for the first full power test," the chief engineer reported. "But you should see this first." He led them to the engine control room, where displays showed the drive's quantum signature. "Watch what happens when we introduce interference." As they watched, the drive's power output wavered, then suddenly spiked. "It's not just adapting," Maya breathed, studying the readings. "It's learning. Every time we throw something new at it, it gets stronger." Sarah understood the implications immediately. "The Dominion's weapons won't work the same way twice," Maya finished. "Their anti-tech weapon relies on disrupting specific quantum states, but our systems don't maintain fixed states. They're constantly shifting, evolving. The more they try to disrupt us, the stronger we become," Raj added. "It's like technological immunity. Each attack teaches our systems new ways to resist." Reports from other facilities showed similar progress. In Europe, they'd developed shields that could absorb enemy fire and convert it into power. Asian facilities had created weapons that adapted to enemy defenses in real time. African research centers had perfected stealth systems that became more effective the harder you looked for them. "We're almost ready," Maya said, showing Sarah the global readiness reports. "The first fleet of hybrid ships will be complete within months. But there's something else you need to see." She led Sarah to a secure lab deep within Haven 1. Inside, researchers worked on what looked like a modified version of the Dominion's anti-tech weapon. "We reversed it," Maya explained. "Instead of disrupting advanced technology, it forces quantum states to align perfectly." Sarah's eyes widened as she understood. "Their technology requires perfect alignment to function. And we can force them into imperfect states," Maya confirmed. "Their perfect systems become their perfect weakness." The implications were staggering. The Dominion's technological superiority had always depended on maintaining precise, perfect conditions, but humanity had learned to thrive in imperfection, to build strength from chaos itself. "Begin final preparation for Phase 3, Sarah ordered, watching as Phoenix One's adaptive systems pulsed with ever-changing energy patterns. "It's time to show the Dominion what real evolution looks like." As she left the testing chamber, Sarah thought about how far they'd come. The Dominion had forced humanity underground, thinking they would regress to primitive survival. Instead, they had created something unprecedented, technology that didn't just work, but grew, learned, and evolved. The perfect response to a species that worshipped perfection. The Dominion never saw the first strike coming. Their quantum sensors, designed to detect perfect energy signatures, completely missed the fleet of hybrid ships rising from Earth's hidden facilities. Phoenix One, now joined by 30 sister ships, ascended through the atmosphere like ghosts, their chaos drives singing their strange, ever-changing song. Admiral Chen stood on Phoenix One's bridge, watching as the tactical display showed their ships taking position around the Dominion's primary resource extraction fleet. The alien vessels hung in low orbit, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight as they systematically stripped Earth's resources. "All ships report ready," Lieutenant Park announced from his station. The bridge looked nothing like traditional human or Dominion designs. Displays shifted and reformed based on need, and control interfaces adapted to each operator's preferences in real time. "Send the signal," Sarah ordered. Across the globe, hidden transmitters activated, broadcasting a message on all frequencies. "Attention Dominion forces, your classification of Earth requires updating." The Dominion ships reacted instantly, their perfect formations shifting to combat positions with mechanical precision. A response came in that same multi-voice tone they used during first contact. Primitive species detected utilizing restricted technology. Reclassifying to Category 4. Initiating appropriate response protocols. Maya, monitoring the battle from Haven 1, couldn't help but smile as she watched the Dominion's reaction. They're powering up their anti-tech weapons. Exactly as we predicted. The Dominion fired first, their quantum disruption beams lancing out toward the human fleet. But where these weapons had once rendered all advanced technology inert, now they had a very different effect. The hybrid ship systems absorbed the attacks, their chaos drives spinning the disruption into new patterns, new adaptations. All ships, execute Pattern Omega, Sarah commanded. The human fleet moved in ways that should have been impossible, their formations flowing like water around the Dominion's precise attacks. Each ship's movement influenced and enhanced the others, creating a combat dance that evolved moment by moment. The Dominion's response was predictable. They increased power to their weapons, trying to overwhelm the human ships with pure force. But this only fed more energy into the chaos drives, making them stronger, more unpredictable. They're trying to adapt their attack patterns, Park reported, watching as the Dominion ships adjusted their formations. But their systems can't handle the quantum fluctuations our drives are producing. Their targeting computers are failing. Sarah nodded grimly. Deploy the quantum inverters. The human fleet activated their reversed anti-tech weapons, forcing perfect alignment on the Dominion systems. The effect was devastating. Crystal hulls that required perfect molecular alignment began to crack. Quantum drives that needed precise calibration stuttered and failed. Multiple Dominion ships showing critical system failures, Park announced. They're trying to retreat, but their drives won't engage properly. The Dominion's response came quickly. Impossible. Your species lacks the capability to affect our technology. This does not compute. That's the problem. Sarah broadcast back. You computed everything perfectly, except human nature. We don't need perfect technology. We need technology that grows, adapts, evolves, just like we do. The battle continued, but it was no longer a contest. The Dominion's perfect weapons couldn't target ships that never maintained the same energy signature for more than a microsecond. Their perfect shields couldn't stop attacks that adapted to their frequencies in real time. Their perfect strategies fell apart against an enemy that evolved new tactics mid-battle. They're calling for reinforcements, Maya reported from Haven 1. Multiple quantum signatures detected entering the system. But even this played into humanity's hands. Each new Dominion ship that arrived provided more data for the hybrid systems to learn from, more patterns to adapt to, more energy to absorb and redirect. Attention human vessels. The Dominion broadcast again, their multi-voice tone showing stress for the first time. Your technological advancement is impossible. Your methods defy established principles. Cease hostilities for analysis. Sarah couldn't help but laugh. That's humanity's secret, Dominion. We specialize in the impossible. We thrive on defying established principles, and we're just getting started. The battle for Earth's orbit became a testament to the power of adaptation over perfection. Where the Dominion ships fought as they always had, precisely and perfectly, humanity's fleet fought like a living thing, growing stronger with each exchange, learning from each attack, evolving with each moment. All ships, execute final phase, Sarah ordered. The hybrid fleet moved as one, their chaos drives synchronizing in ways that shouldn't have been possible. The quantum inverters reached out, forcing perfect alignment on every Dominion ship in range. The effect was catastrophic for the aliens. Systems that required perfect conditions now found themselves locked into those conditions, unable to adjust or compensate. One by one, their ships went dark, their perfect technology becoming their perfect prison. As the last Dominion ship fell silent, Sarah looked out at Earth below. They had won not by matching the Dominion's perfection, but by embracing imperfection, by building strength from adaptation rather than precision. The message to their would-be conquerors was clear. Humanity would not be classified, contained, or controlled. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, the planet was transformed. Where Dominion extraction sites once stood, new cities rose, combining human architecture with hybrid technology. The skies, once dominated by crystalline warships, now hosted humanity's ever-evolving fleet, each vessel a testament to the power of adaptive engineering. Admiral Chen stood in the newly constructed Earth Defense Headquarters, watching as another diplomatic vessel entered orbit. This one wasn't Dominion. Its organic curves and flowing lines marked it as belonging to the consortium, a coalition of species that had long lived in the shadow of Dominion technological supremacy. That's the 5th diplomatic mission this week, Maya noted, joining Sarah at the window. She traded her lab coat for more formal attire, reflecting her new role as Earth's chief of technological innovation. Everyone wants to know how the primitives managed to defeat the undefeatable. The news of Earth's victory had spread through the galaxy like a shockwave. The Dominion, whose perfect technology had dominated space for millennia, had been defeated by a species they'd classify as primitive. More importantly, they'd been defeated by technology that broke all their fundamental rules. The consortium representatives are requesting permission to study our hybrid systems, Maya continued, reviewing her tablet. Particularly the chaos drives. Apparently, the concept of technology that evolves through use is causing quite a stir in galactic scientific circles. Sarah smiled, remembering the Dominion's final transmission before retreating from Earth space. This violation of established principles cannot be permitted. Your species represents a dangerous anomaly. Have we heard anything more from the Dominion? She asked, though she already knew the answer. They've withdrawn from 3 more systems, Maya replied. Other species are beginning to develop their own versions of our hybrid technology. The Dominion's perfect systems can't adapt fast enough to counter them. Their empire is crumbling not through force, but through innovation. In the testing chamber below, engineers were working on the next generation of hybrid ships. Each vessel incorporated lessons learned during the battle, their systems evolving not just through use but through shared experience. The fleet was becoming more than a collection of ships. It was growing into a complex, adaptive network. The consortium scientists won't believe what we tell them, Maya said, watching the tests. They keep asking how we developed such advanced technology so quickly. They don't understand that it wasn't about advancement. It was about thinking differently. A holographic display showed the status of Earth's reconstruction efforts. Cities were being rebuilt using adaptive materials that learned from environmental stresses. Power grids now operated on principles of controlled chaos, becoming more efficient through calculated imperfection. The Dominion gave us everything we needed, Sarah mused. They were so convinced of their superiority that they couldn't imagine their cast-offs becoming something new in our hands. They thought technology had to be perfect to be powerful. Perfect is rigid, Maya agreed. Rigid breaks. But things that can bend, adapt, evolve, they're harder to break. That's the lesson humanity had to teach the galaxy. The diplomatic vessel landed at the new spaceport, its design a striking contrast to the hybrid ships around it. The consortium, like most galactic species, had followed the Dominion's lead in technological development, seeking perfection above all else. But that was changing now. They're calling it the adaptive revolution, Maya said. Species across the galaxy are beginning to question the pursuit of technological perfection. They're starting to see the value in systems that can learn and grow. Sarah watched as more ships appeared in the sky. Trading vessels, diplomatic missions, scientific expeditions. Earth, once dismissed as a primitive backwater, had become the center of a technological renaissance. The Dominion thought they were superior because they'd achieved perfection, she said. But perfection is an endpoint. Evolution has no endpoint. It just keeps going, adapting, improving, finding new ways to survive and thrive. In orbit, Phoenix 1 and its sister ships continued their patrols, their chaos drives singing their ever-changing songs. Each ship was different now than it had been during the battle. changed by experience, adapted through challenge. They were no longer just vessels, but living proof that the path to the future wasn't through perfection, but through embrace of change itself. Humanity's greatest strength, Maya reflected, wasn't our ability to understand the Dominion's technology. It was our ability to see beyond it, to take their rigid perfection and transform it into something that could grow and evolve. As they prepared to meet with the consortium representatives, Sarah thought about how far they'd come. The Dominion had arrived expecting to find simple primitives and had instead discovered a species that could take their discarded perfection and forge it into something entirely new. They had intended to classify and contain humanity, but had instead unleashed a force that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what technology could be. The age of perfect, unchanging technology was over. The era of evolution and adaptation had begun. And humanity, the species that had learned to thrive in imperfection, would lead the way into this new dawn.